Hi everyone, myself Nitesh. As you know, I'm taking and I'm here for water supply and treatment engineering video lecturing. So this is a new module number 4, which is consist of video part 1. This is the part 1 video for the module number 4. Please remember, part 1 video for the module number 4 under water supply and treatment engineering for 4th semester as usual, 18 CV 46. Now here I'm discussing in the module number 4, that is disinfection and miscellaneous treatment process. What is disinfection and miscellaneous treatment process? With disinfection is one of the treatment which is after filtration. If any bacteria are there that is harmful bacteria are there, that has to be removed in this process. Now here main our intention is our disinfection as well as miscellaneous means other treatment processes which include for the treatment requirement for the treatment. So now in this part 1 video we are going to discuss about disinfection part. Okay, the part of disinfection. So that is what I am here explaining. Disinfection in surface water and groundwater treatment systems. Disinfection in surface water and groundwater. So what is disinfection? If asked or if wanted to know, disinfection is the process of removal of disinfection is the one of the prime objective of water treatment is removal of inactivation of pathogenic. Removal or inactivation, we can call it, or removal or inactivation. Okay, pathogenic, only pathogenic, remember, only pathogenic microorganisms. Pathogenic microorganisms to prevent or spread of waterborne diseases. You all know that what are waterborne diseases. So this is the prime objective. Our prime objective of disinfection in the treatment plant, we are see that water which comes from where? As we know that water which comes from a source, right? From the source, see that here you can see water will come from source. This is the source, isn't it? And it has screened. There are several screens will be there. It has screened. After screening, by pumping, we have sent to sedimentation tank, which we discussed, as well as flocculation and sedimentation and coagulation tank. This is sedimentation. After your flocculation as well as sedimentation, so after that it will be traveled to the filter, right? After filtration, we have studied this all the processes. Now from module number 1 to module number 3, we have studied a source, screening, pump, like coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation and filtration, even though. Now final treatment is disinfection. The final treatment is of our disinfectant, that is called disinfection. Then the water will be traveled to storage pump, then distribution. So that we can study later. Now our main motto is to disinfection portion. What is disinfection? What is the prime objective of the disinfection? Disinfection is nothing but it is the water treatment. It is one of the water treatment, isn't it? The removal or inactivation of pathogenic bacteria or microorganisms, we can call it as, to prevent the spread of waterborne diseases, right? For example, if you take the after filtration, see, filtration will not remove 100% of microorganisms. It is a, yeah, filtration. We can tell that some of the some of the bacteria it can be removed. The microorganisms which can be removed, some extent we cannot tell. And if you use a rapid sand filter, the filtration of removal of microorganisms rate is low as compared to slow sand filter. In such cases, what happens if waterborne diseases causing bacteria like cholera diseases causing bacteria, typhoid diseases causing bacteria, kind of bacteria will remain in the water when you drink it. So that what if you drink that water, then there will be a bacteria, that is waterborne diseases will be going to transfer, or it will be causes to our body. So it has to be removed by means of disinfection. Okay. So now we'll discuss what is the definition of disinfection. We'll discuss what is the definition of disinfection. Very important point to note that what is the disinfection is a process. Right. Disinfection is a process to remove. We can call it as remove, or deactivate also you can call it, or else you can kill. Three words you can use. You are removing the bacteria or microorganisms, or deactivating the microorganisms, or kill the microorganisms. That is called microorganisms, means not all the microorganisms. So it is very important to mention pathogenic microorganisms. You cannot say, or we cannot say that disinfection is a process of removal of, deactivate, or kill the microorganisms. We cannot say kill microorganisms. We have to say that disinfection is a process of kill the pathogenic bacteria only. So they infect. So they are not infectious to human and animals. Please remember this definition. Very simple definition. Disinfection is a process to remove or deactivate or kill the pathogenic bacteria. Please underline pathogenic bacteria, so that if we are not adding pathogenic bacteria, then it is called as sterilization, not disinfection. Please remember, then it is called as sterilization, not disinfection. Okay, I hope you got it now. It is the most important treatment in steps of both surface as well as treatment of groundwater, because if some of the areas we are not adapted surface water, kind of who are adapted groundwater, there will be a contamination of microorganisms, pathogenic microorganisms, that has to be removed by means of disinfection. Please understand. So this is what slide number 3. That means the first slide says. Okay. So now we will move to another slide, which is water related diseases. Okay. Some of the diseases we have to remember now, why we have to use disinfection treatment. So you can see, look at the figure here, which we are studied step by step process has been shown in the figure, line diagram. So in this line diagram, we are now in the process of disinfection. Okay. So now what are the water related diseases, waterborne diseases? Waterborne diseases. If you come to waterborne diseases, now waterborne infection spread through the contaminated drinking water. That is called waterborne diseases. Okay. Infection spread through contaminated drinking water. Then it is called waterborne diseases. Water washed diseases means what then? Water washed diseases. The diseases due to lack of proper sanitation. Lack of proper sanitation and hygiene. That is water washed diseases. See, waterborne diseases is the infections spread through the contaminated drinking water. If your microorganisms are there, then that contaminated water can be traveled to your waterborne, that is from that it will be traveled to the body, means it is waterborne diseases because we are drinking that water only. But water washed diseases means the diseases due to improper sanitation and hygiene. Improper sanitation and hygiene or lack of proper sanitation and hygiene, then it is said to be water washed diseases. Please understand the difference between waterborne diseases and water washed diseases. Now one more diseases is water-based diseases. Water-based diseases means infections transmitted through an aquatic invertebrate organisms. Okay? Invertebrate. Infection is transmitted through a aquatic invertebrate organisms. What is then invertebrate organism means? What is that? Aquatic. Not I'm not telling about it is especially in the aquatic. It is an animal without a backbone and include like fruit flies or sea sponges or your okay. So this so due to this animals causes infection is transmitted. Because of this animals, the infection may be transmitted. This organisms infection may be transmitted. That is water-based diseases. And one more important factor is water-related vector-borne diseases. Okay, water-related vector-borne diseases. If you come across water-related vector-borne diseases, then the transmitted by insects that depended on the water for their propagation. Understood? Their propagation. Transmitted the insects that depended on the water. Which of the, for example, so water-related vector-borne diseases, which is transmitted insect that depended upon the water, their propagation. For example, a very good example is mosquito. Mosquito, if you take, their propagation is only dependent upon the water. Their generation is due to their propagation or generation is due to only water. So they will release the eggs in the water only. So as well as malaria is one of the most important because they are related to the water, isn't it? That is called related vector-borne diseases. Malaria, you can take a very good example of this particular based diseases. Good example, you can take malaria. So waterborne diseases, you can take waterborne diseases. We can take like cholera. You can take typhoid. You can take, that is waterborne diseases. Water washed diseases, you can lack viruses like flu. Water-based diseases, which is transferred, that is transmitted to the aquatic invertebrate organisms, as well as water-related vector-borne diseases, which is very good example is malaria. So this is about this slide, which is of your diseases, water-related diseases. Now we'll come to another point, that is the need of disinfection of the water. Why we need? That is our important motto now. Why we need to disinfection in the water. Why we need? Is it required? Is it required? That is my question now. Is it required of waterborne diseases? I mean, your disinfection. If without disinfection we can drink the water, isn't it? We can drink the water. Why we need? Why we need the disinfection of water? Okay, we can call it as why we need a disinfection of water. Okay, now pathogens, bacteria, anthrax diseases caused. So like E. coli infection will be there, as well as this is a bacteria which causes. See, cholera is dependent upon Vibrio cholerae, a name which is Salmonella causes typhoid. Tuberculosis called Mycobacterium tuberculosis causes tuberculosis. Salmonella bacteria causes typhoid. Vibrio cholera causes cholera. Like hepatitis virus causes hepatitis A, as well as poliovirus. It's like parasites causes like this is the kind of diseases which will be caused by pathogenic bacteria. This is called as pathogenic bacteria. So this bacteria will be causes our. This bacteria is there, right? This bacteria are pathogen to human and animals. These bacteria are pathogen to human. Bacteria, virus or parasites are pathogenic. That is called microorganism. This combination of bacteria, virus and parasites is called as microorganisms. This microorganisms causes different diseases. These diseases to the human as well as animal. So to contaminate, this is contaminated due to we use the water, isn't it? So now for that what we have to do? For that we have to remove this bacteria. For that or viruses or parasites. For that what we need? For that we need a disinfection. Right? We need a disinfection. For that what we are going to do? Slides. What slide says? Microorganisms in the water are most often associated with several waterborne diseases like typhoid, cholera, paratyphoid, bacterial dysentery or poliomyelitis, etc. diseases will be caused, right? Like especially we can take cholera, waterborne diseases, typhoid and dysentery will be the most common diseases in Indian scenario. And this is due to a waterborne diseases. Okay, that has to be removed. That should not come to our body means then we need a disinfection. That has to be removed in the water. Conventional filtration and excess lime softening if used may provide removal of organisms only to the certain degree but cannot ensure that complete removal of diseases causing microbes. I already told you that filtration cannot remove all kind of microorganisms or only it can remove 80%. If 20% causing diseases causing microbes are there means that if not removed means it will be transferred to our bodies. So that has to be removed by only disinfection. So for that, therefore, additional treatment process disinfection is administered after filtration of complete removal or inactivation of harmful microorganisms in the water. The treated water must be made the microbial contamination standards set by the regulatory authorities. There will be some standards for the microbial contamination, so and so, that has to meet the regulatory authorities, which is given by the standards. So for that we have to implement this is seriously, so that then only we can avoid these bacteria or these microorganisms which is transferred to the bodies. Okay. So now one more slide will, if you go to another slide, disinfection versus sterilization. I already discussed what is disinfection and what is sterilization. That is different. Disinfection is different from the sterilization. Please understand here. Please understand, disinfection is not related to, yeah, there is a relation, but not, it is different. Sterilization is different and disinfection is different. The process is only killing the bacteria or microorganisms, but disinfection and sterilizations are different. So now, which is complete destruction of microorganisms found in the water. Okay. Sterilization is most expensive and unnecessary of the water treatment, which simply aims just to ensure the safety from the risks of waterborne disease. Disinfection is adequate clean, does not ensure the same security level. The sterilization is extreme cleanliness, does not require necessary inactive all forms of microorganisms. See, in sentence, bacteria spores. So now the disinfection is aims only pathogenic bacteria removal or kill the pathogenic bacteria, but sterilization will concentrate or remove or kill almost all bacteria. That is not unnecessarily we are inactivating all the forms of microorganisms. This is not required, which will be cost more in the treatment. So that will be again burden. So that should not be used. Sterilization need not be used. Treatment, sterilization is absolute killing microbes as well as vegetative cells and So disinfection is different from sterilization, which is complete destruction. So adequate killing the microbial vegetative cells is not the spores. So let's see that this is spores, which is okay. This spores, as to, in the sterilization, the spores also be removed. But here the disinfection only the concentrate on this harmful bacteria. Okay. Shall we move to another slide? That is slide number 7. Disinfection objectives and approaches. Of objectives of the disinfection and approaches, how to approach it and what are the objectives related to this disinfection. Okay. So now this is your objective of the disinfection. Objective of the disinfection is to produce microbially safe, already I mentioned, produce microbially safe water by removing, inactivating or killing the pathogen is the primary aim to safety and risk of waterborne diseases, free from safety or free from risk of waterborne diseases. Approaches: disinfection water can be achieved by in removal of pathogen. If we concentrate in removal of filtering out all pathogenic microorganisms. Filtering out all pathogenic microorganisms. All pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, that is filtering all pathogen. That is called in removal of pathogen. This is approaches. And activation or killing. The second approach is activation or killing. Destroying the cellular structure of the microorganisms. That is destroying means killing the cellular structure of the microorganisms, or disrupting the metabolism biosynthesis or ability to grow or reproduce, that is activation. So in case of bacteria, inactivation describes the sequent inability of the microorganisms to divide from the colonies. For viruses, inactivation measures is inability of microorganisms from the plaques of the host cells. Protozoa is or it is measures to inability of microorganisms to multiply, there preventing consequent infection by host by this particular cryptopodium. But here the most important thing that the spores that cannot be removed here, that is called your activation or in removal of pathogenic bacteria. This is about your approaches slide. Then we'll move for another slide, that is types and typical methods of disinfection. The typical methods involved in the disinfection, that is what are the methods which is involved in the disinfection. If we ask what are the methods which is involved in the disinfection, then we can say first one, physical methods. This is a physical method. That is what? What are the physical methods involved? Physical methods, filtration and boiling. Okay, filtration and boiling. That is your filter method. Physical. You can see if you boil, there will be disinfection causing diseases causing bacteria can be removed. Filtration is also process. Ultrasonic or electronic or UV radiation. Ultrasonic or electronic or UV radiation. And chemical method is very important method in us for the topic chlorination, ozonation and other chemical reagents. Okay, so this is about your methods which we used to follow: physical methods, radiation method and chemical methods. So now if we concentrate on physical method, or if we concentrate on radiation method, if we chemical for chemical methods, there will be some differences. Filtration and boil, already you know that filtration processes. Boiling process you know, right? Ultrasonic process we have to study now, and chlorination process we have to. The most common disinfectant. What is disinfectant? You know, disinfection means the process of killing pathogenic bacteria is called as disinfection. But what is disinfectant? For killing the bacteria or pathogenic microorganisms, for what chemical we are using, that is called the disinfectant. What you are using, what method or what chemical you are using, that is called disinfectant. Maybe the most common Indian scenario disinfectant is in chlorine. Most common disinfectant in Indian scenario which you see, that is chlorine, which is used different forms including chlorine gas. We can use it as chlorine gas. Okay, we can use it as chlorine gas or hypochlorite. If you can, it can be converted to chlorine, can be converted to chlorine gas or hypochlorite or chloramine and chlorine dioxide The most common disinfectant is chlorine, as you know, which is used in different forms. Maybe you can use as chlorine gas, hypochlorite, chloramines and chlorine dioxide. Okay. Other chemical reagent which have been used for disinfection including iodine, bromine, hydrogen peroxide, hydrogen peroxide. Other chemical reagent, if you take, you can take iodine, bromine, hydrogen peroxide, you can take ozone, O3, copper, silver ions. This is also chemical is used for your disinfectant, as a disinfectant, but importantly we can say chlorine, or most common method we disinfectant we followed is chlorine. So now another factor, another slide, if we take disinfection mechanism. Actually I left this slide. Please I will go to this slide, then I will move to properties. I left this before methods. This is also one important slide. How the mechanisms involved in the disinfection. Okay. How the mechanism involved in the disinfection. That is also one of the important prime factor which we have to know about this concept. So now here, if we concentrate on mechanism, straining or physical remover by non-fine, that is your straining or physical removal is nothing but, as I know, as I told, that is filtration, isn't it? That is your filtration. Straining and physical removal, that is your filtration. Okay, then come across one more, altering or destroying the structures or functions of essential components within the pathogen. This is another mechanism, altering or destroying the structures of or functions of an essential components within the pathogens. That is including proteins, especially structural proteins, enzymes, transport proteins, etc. We are destroying or altering or one minute. Nucleic acid or DNA, if you consider, that is DNA, that is genomic DNA or RNA or mRNA or tRNA, etc., or lipids, very important, lipids or lipids bilayer membranes or other lipids. We are destroying the structure or functional or essential components which is within pathogen is alternating. So that is the mechanisms which involve. Second mechanisms under this alteration of cell permeability. Alteration of cell permeability. That is, agents such as phenolic compounds and detergents destroys the selective permeability, only selective permeability of the membrane. Inhibition of the enzyme activity. We are trying to do inhibition of enzyme activity under alteration mechanism. Heat coagulants, that is cell proteins, cell acids or base, the denatures proteins, resulting the lethal effects. This causes lethal effects. Thus, the disinfection process is done, and alteration of the colloidal nature protoplasm. That is alteration of the colloidal nature protoplasm. If you concentrate of alteration, that is colloidal nature protoplasm. Okay, that is also a factor which is colloidal nature. That means your oxidizing agents of the chemicals, alter the chemical arrangement of the enzyme and deactivating them. That is also one of the major mechanisms involved in it. Okay. Now, if we travel another portion, another slide, that is properties of disinfectant. Ideal. What are the properties should be involved in the ideal disinfectant? What is factant? Factant which you are using as a for the disinfection. The material or a chemical which we are using, that is called disinfectant. Chlorine is a disinfectant. So, one properties of an ideal disinfectant is broad spectrum, mainly broad spectrum, active against all microbes. That is the properties of ideal disinfectant. Fast kinetics. If you take fast kinetics, produce rapid inactivation. That the kinetics which involves that produces rapid inactivation. Okay, that is the main major criteria. The rapid inactivation of that is a process of ideal disinfectant. Okay. Then third one, non-toxic or non-inflammable. It should be non-toxic. The disinfectant should be non-toxic. For example, chlorine, non-inflammable, sorry, non-flammable, not inflammable. It is flammable, non-flammable or inflammable. No, not explosive. Should not be explosive. For example, if you take a chlorine as a disinfectant, that should not be toxic to human. Right, we are using the chlorine. And non-flammable. It should not be flammable and non-explosive. Okay. Effective in the presence of interfering constituents. When its presence should be effective when the interfering with the constituents. Okay. And compatible with various material surfaces. The compatible with the various material surfaces. Okay. Stable for intended exposure period. Provides a residual or if desirable. Okay, easy to generate and apply. That is also very important property. Should be that is easy to generate and applicable and economical. That is also very important. That is economical. That is broad spectrum, fast kinetics, non-toxic and non-flammable, non-explosive. Presence of effectively presence in the interfering constituents, capable, that is compatible with various materials and surfaces, stable for intended exposure period, provides a residual, easy to generate and apply, and economic. Okay. Now we'll move to another slide. This is a very good properties should be for all your disinfectant which you are using it. Okay. Now, if we concentrate on another constituent, that is properties of common disinfectant. Properties of common disinfectant, that is your chlorine if you take. For example, chlorine, chloramine, ozone. These are the common disinfectant which we are used in the water treatment process or the water disinfection process, which is commonly adopted or used. Just if you look at the properties of on same, then just we can concentrate. Free chlorine. produces strong oxidants like HOCl, that is hypochlorous acid. This is produces strong oxidant which is altering process. Hypochlorous acid and OCl minus, that is hypochlorite ion in water, which are stable and may provide residual good properties, that is residual, ensuring future protection as well. HOCl, which is the most effective disinfectant in the two domains, that is low pH as well as, while OCl is in the higher pH. This both will be hypochlorite acid as OCl, hypochlorous acid as well as hypochlorite, which will be more effective in both of two domains, that is low pH as well as higher pH. Okay, so that is the properties. Properties for the free chlorine, as well as if you come to chloramines, this is also a properties. This is disinfectant. Here chloramine, the disinfectant is mostly NH2Cl and NH2Cl2. The disinfectant is like, one is NH2Cl and NH2Cl2. Okay, so these are weak oxidants, however provides a stable residual. These are weak acids but oxidant, but however this provide a residual. So this is a monochloride, chloramine and dichloramine, that is monochloramine as well as dichloramine. Monochloramine as well as dichloramine, which is NH2Cl as well as NHCl2. So now chloramine dioxide, if you concentrate on chloramine dioxide, that's ClO2, very strong oxidant but unstable. This is dissolved gas, it's not stable. This is a very strong oxidant. What is the oxidant? You can see here, oxidants is nothing but they alter the chemical arrangement of the enzymes and deactivating them. Okay, that is the mechanism involved for the chlorine dioxide. That is, it's a good oxidant but unstable because it's dissolved gases. Ozone O3, if you take, very strong oxidant but provides no residual. Residual is very important. That is, chlorine has no volatile, too volatile and reactive. Okay, so and UV radiation if you take, that is also a disinfectant, very effective disinfectant that primarily damages the nucleic cell works at the low intensity monochromatic radiation at 255 mm wavelength. Nanometer, that is, you can tell nanometer, usually produces low pressure mercury lamp. Higher the intensity polychromatic radiation produced by the medium pressure mercury lamp. That is about your radiation process. And if you come to boiling is effective of killing microorganisms. But what happened here, the associated energy and environmental cost is high. Also, boiling does not leave any residual protection. There is also no residual protection, but again it is energy is more for this. Energy consumption is more. For example, LPG, liquid petroleum gases, or electrical energy, or any petrol kind of any energy is required, so that cost will be going to be high. Okay, that is about our property mechanisms. Very simple. I hope so you understood this concept easily. So now if we come back a factor affecting of the disinfection, what are the factors that affect our disinfection if you concentrate? That is first one factor, microbe types and their resistance to disinfectant. How the resistant, that is one factor, that factors which affect the disinfectant. That is microbe types, what type of microbes it is, and the resistance, how resistance with what we are using the disinfectant. That is very important. Which are the disinfectant? For example, if we are using chlorine, uh, what type of microbes and what resistance with this disinfectant? Vegetative bacteria like salmonella, which causes your typhoid, I guess. We'll see salmonella bacteria. You can see it here, paratyphoid, right? So that bacteria coliforms have a low resistance. Okay, with low resistance. So that is also important factor that affects enteric viruses like coliphages, HIV, noroviruses, etc. have moderate resistance. We should know that what type of bacteria and what is the resistance capacity. Bacterial and fungus spores, protozoan, cyst as cyst, helminth, ova, etc. are high resistance. So this high resistance will be also very important. These are the very important factors which affect our disinfection. Second type of disinfectant and other mode of action. First one is microbes and microbe type and the resistance to disinfectant. Second one, the type of disinfectant and their mode of action. Okay, that is second one. The strong oxidants like HOCl, OCl minus, ClO2 and O3 like oxidants like your hypochlorous as well as hypochlorite and ozone oxidants, various protein sulfhydryl groups, halters. So membrane permeability and oxidized nucleic acid components, etc. This is about your strong oxidants. That is their disinfectant type and their mode of action. Like weak oxidants like combined chlorine like denatures and sulfhydryl groups of the proteins. Ultraviolet ray primarily causes the nucleic acid damages, very important, such as the disinfectant of the action. And water quality, if you take suspended and dissolved matter like pH, ORP, turbidity, temperature, hardness and salt ions, that is also a factor which affects the disinfection. Reactor design and mixing, hydraulic condition, the plug flow better kinetics or mixed reactor system, the plug flow or mixed reactor system, that also a important factor that which affect the disinfection. Okay, so this is one important mode. So now chlorination for the disinfection. Chlorination for the disinfection, if you concentrate chlorination for the disinfection, then we'll concentrate mainly chlorination. That is also one important factor, chlorination for the disinfection. The most common disinfection method involves addition of some from. We'll concentrate chlorination and disinfection, chlorination topic from the coming part. Okay, so today's concentration in the part 1 we are discussed about module 4, which is disinfection. What is the primary objective as well as definition, water related diseases, why we need the disinfection, and what pathogenic microorganisms causes what kind of diseases, and what is the difference between sterilization and disinfection, and what are the approaches of the disinfection and mechanism involved in the disinfection. What are the typical methods used for the disinfection? Physical method, radiation method, and chemical method. What properties involved in the ideal disinfectant should be involved in the ideal disinfectant, and common disinfectant properties, factor affecting the disinfection, as well as chlorination for the disinfection. That is next slide. We are going to chlorine, very important decision of chlorine. Okay, thank you very much.